Des Moines International Airport. We have some videotape of that. He spent about an hour and a half at a private party here in Norwalk, just west of Indianola. And then, of course, he made his way to the steak and chop fry given by Iowa Senator Tom Harkin, who was also running for Senate here in Iowa. Mr. Clinton is just starting to speak, and I think right now we can switch to our second camera position, and we can hear a little bit of what he has to say today.
Mike Peterson gave a heck of a speech up here a few minutes ago. He'll be a good candidate someday. I want to thank Mayor Kelly of Indianola, Mayor Davis of Des Moines. I want to thank Tom and Ruth and Jenny and Amy for serving the state of Iowa. I want you to know that Ruth Harkin has played a major role in the efforts that our administration has made to sell more American products around the world and get more American investment and have fair as well as free trade. And I thank her. You should all be very proud of her for the work she did as head of the Overseas Private Investment Corporation. I thank Senator Harkin for what he said, but more importantly for what he has done and been to the people of Iowa, to the people of the United States, and to the President. He has been nothing short of magnificent in his service to our country and to this state in the last 4 years since I've been in Washington. I can't tell you all the times that I have turned to Tom Harkin in the last 4 years when things were on the line for America.
The president speaking here at the Tom Harkin Steak and Chop Fry, estimating about 12,000 people at this big event, fundraiser and dinner. We'll have more on this story, of course, coming up later on News Channel 8 at 5. Steve?
All right, Todd, thank you very much for that live report and a few details of the president's speech this afternoon in Indianola. Coming up today at 5 and again at 10 here on News Channel 8, we'll bring you further details on the color of the event. We'll also have details of the president's speech and some Republican response. We have a number of reporters working on the story. We'll bring you full details today at 5 and 10. Right now, let's go back to the PGA President's Cup golf tournament.
On the screen in 2, Frank Nobilo. 2 down in his match.
We'll build a bridge we can walk across together. If you'll do that, we'll have a great victory in November. Thank you, and God bless you.
You can see a very large crowd here to see the president and Senator Tom Harkin. My colleague Jenny Atwater got a chance to talk to some of those people in the crowd.
Well, we've had pretty cloudy weather, pretty rainy weather, actually, showers off and on, but that wasn't enough to keep the people away. They're about 12,000 strong, and that rain wasn't enough to keep their spirits down either. Maybe it was the steak sizzling on the grill that made them wait on those long lines. This is called a steak and chops fry, and people really dug into the food. But when it came time for the president and Senator Harkin to speak, the people really listened. The president got tremendous support, and the folks we caught up with afterwards say they'd come and see him speak all over again.
I know it's something that my kids will probably never forget, having that opportunity. So it's something I'll definitely do again, and I enjoyed it.
And both Todd and I will have more on what the president had to say, and also more reaction coming up tonight at 10.
All right, thank you, Jenny.
All right, as Todd Magel mentioned, the president really is still in Indianola, although he was scheduled to leave just about now from the Des Moines International Airport, and that's where we find Lisa Molina of our staff.
And that's right, and obviously there's no sign of him yet because he's still in Indianola. What's going on there right now, though, Lisa?
Well, no sign of him. Air Force One is here behind me, as you can see, and of course, security is tight as always when the president is in town. Dogs have been sniffing the area, making sure everything is okay. The press is now secure in their areas, but he was, as Steve said, supposed to leave at about 5 after 5, and obviously being his only stop today, he's extended that, and he's going to be in Indianola for a little while, it looks like, and we'll just have to wait, stand by, and find out when he decides to come on back and head home to Washington.
All right, thank you, Lisa.
Well, Iowa Senator Tom Harkin's opponent is also reacting to the president's visit. Congressman Jim Ross Lightfoot does not think that Mr. Clinton's appearance will necessarily give Harkin a boost here in Iowa.
It will now cement, I think, in people's minds how closely aligned that Mr. Clinton and Mr. Harkin are on the partial birth abortion issue. That Mr. Clinton's, it was his idea for the biggest tax increase we've ever had, and Tom's vote was the one that there's a tie vote that broke it in the Senate. You can just go down a whole list of issues.
And Jim Ross Lightfoot is also pointing to a News Channel 8 poll recently that shows him 6 points behind Senator Harkin. He says that's proof that Harkin is vulnerable.
In other news, police are still searching for the killer of Raul Camachos, the 18-year-old.
30.
Thank you very much. It's good to be back.
President Clinton makes a stop in central Iowa to stump for Senator Tom Harkin and put some muscle behind his own presidential campaign. Good evening, I'm Sonia Heitzuz, and Senator Tom Harkin's annual Steak and Chop Fry is no ordinary cookout. It's a big fundraiser for the candidate, and it often draws some heavy hitters like the president. Clinton arrived at the Des Moines International Airport shortly after 1 this afternoon. After meeting privately with Des Moines Democrats, it was off to Indianola for the 19th annual Steak and Chop Fry. That's where our Cal Woods is standing by live. And Cal, it's an election year, and Harkin is facing a formidable opponent this year.
Right.
So no surprise the event drew its largest crowd ever.
Well, Sonia, the Harkin staffers say that Jerry Jeff Walker had something to do with today's turnout. But it never hurts to have a popular president on the guest list as well. Probably about 12,000 folks here today, maybe half as many as were here 4 years ago in 1992 when it was candidate Bill Clinton. Once again, he has a comfortable lead in the polls as he brings his message to Iowa Democrats.
And Iowa is a strong two-party state. We're going to try to change that a little this time.
Joining us live now is Warren County Democratic Chair Don Ruby. Don, both President Clinton and Tom Harkin have what we might consider comfortable leads in the polls. Are your strategies any different when both candidates, or at least those two candidates, are comfortably ahead?
Absolutely not. The campaigns run for those two candidates, but what we as a party work for is the rest of the slate that has all the way down to the county courthouse. We need to get those folks elected at the courthouse level, the state house level, as well as the congressional level, and we need to fill all those slots with Democrats also.
Don, things are a little bit different than 2 years ago. There's a few more candidates this time around that I think are anxious to appear alongside President Clinton in their campaigns this time.
Absolutely. It's a decision for the candidates to make. They work their own campaigns. It's a decision of what's going to work to get them elected. And when the president is popular, candidates want to be seen with him because it will rub off the presidential image. When a president is unpopular, it doesn't work, and the candidate makes the decision that I want to step back. I want to run my own campaign. I'm my own person.
So. Don, I know you guys have put on a lot of big events before, but this is the biggest for the steak fries. Some logistical challenges there?
The real logistical challenges is getting the people in. When you have the president here, like you said, 4 years ago it was candidate Clinton here, didn't have magnetrons to go through to get in the gates. Today it's President Clinton, magnetrons. We had a line about a quarter of a mile down the road for people to get through the magnetrons and get into the field. But they all got in. We got a chance to see them. Had a wonderful event, had a great steak fry. We'd love to do it again next year.
All right. Don, I know you've had some long days in the last couple of weeks. Thanks very much for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
By any measure, a successful day for the Democrats. The Harkin campaign raised about $250,000. Another quarter of a million for the Democratic Party. A very festive event here in Indianola and Warren County today. Now, about a half a world away, we've been informed of some more serious events that have been unfolding, events in Iraq, and here to tell us more about that is my colleague Jeannie Kung. Jeannie?
Thanks, Cal. Now, in the midst of the celebration, thoughts aren't far behind in what's happening back in the Middle East. Now, the Clinton administration is waiting for the go-ahead from Kuwaiti's emir to send an additional 5,000 more troops into Kuwait for reinforcement against Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein. Now, we talked with some of the people here at the cookout about their thoughts, and they had mixed feelings about it.
Oh, you don't need to, because there's enough troops there now. Should forget about it, just send bombs, I guess.
I think it's a positive move to send somebody in there and straighten them out now before it gets carried on any further than what it did in Vietnam.
Now, more than 1,200 U.S. troops are already in Kuwait for training exercises, and the Kuwaiti's emir has told U.S. Defense Secretary William Perry that he'll need to ask the Kuwaiti's Defense Committee for permission to send more troops into the Middle East. Sonia?
So, Jeannie, even some mixed feelings there among Democrats.
Right, definitely mixed feelings, but because of the celebration, the thoughts, that wasn't really high on their list of what they were thinking about, but it was definitely a concern.
All right, thank you. Jeannie Kung and Cal Woods reporting live from Indianola. Some key Republicans are also in town blasting President Clinton's foreign policy. News 5 talked with Senator John McCain, a member of several Armed Services Committee. He says our allies are backing off strikes against Iraq because of lack of leadership in the White House.
It seems that we have not had a focused, principled policy in the region, which has led us to very serious problems, from which there may not be any real good options to pursue. I'm not exactly sure what the President of the United States should do now, because we are in much worse condition than we were a few weeks ago. What we should have done was, as soon as Saddam Hussein invaded the Kurdish areas, we should have punished the Iraqi military. The President's actions so far have been a total failure. We have launched 44 cruise missiles, and in return for that, Saddam Hussein has gained control over parts of Iraq that he never had before, and he has splintered the coalition that was vital to the success of the Gulf War.
Like McCain, Congressman Jim Ross Lightfoot attacked the president's handling of Saddam Hussein, but we also asked Lightfoot about his strategy against Harkin in the final months before the election.
Hope that Mr. Harkin and Mr. Clinton quit trying to scare senior citizens to death over the whole Medicare thing, and maybe it's sort of appropriate this thing was held at the site of the hot air balloon grounds. There may be some political implications there. But we feel very good about where the race is going. Perhaps they'll get some of a financial bump off of today. It's my understanding they bust people in from 4 or 5 states in order to get their crowd. Those people, it looked nice on TV, but they can't vote in Iowa.
Lightfoot says Harkin is at or below 50% in the polls. He says that means he can edge out Harkin in November. In other news, Des Moines police are looking for 2 men who beat, stabbed, and robbed a Des Moines man early this morning. The assailants jumped 20-year-old Thomas Garza on the 1700 block of 22nd Street. Police say the suspects demanded money from Garza, hit him over the head with a bottle, and then stabbed him in the arm. Police are looking for 2 Hispanic males, possibly acquaintances of the victim. One of 4 teens charged with killing a Union woman will stand trial this week. 32-year-old Rebecca Hauser was stabbed and shot to death nearly 2 years ago. Her body was discovered in her car along a Marshall County road. Now, 3 months after the conviction of his twin brother, Bert, Derek Smith will face a jury. Jason Speaks, also accused of killing Hauser, will stand trial at a later date. Blake Privet has pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and will be sentenced later. Still ahead on News 5, a tragic end to the crash in Washington State. We'll have the details.
And more cool weather for central Iowa, but what about rain? Our neighbors will see plenty. I'm Tom Cox. I'll have our forecast next.
Live from Des Moines, this is News 5 at 6 with Sonia Heidt-Susan. Weather with meteorologist Cammie Powers and Rod Bodholt with Force.
A few light sprinkles today, nothing to spoil a presidential visit, and those sprinkles should be clearing out of here in short order. Take a look at the next rad picture. You can see the moisture that came our way and then quickly went away. A few sprinkles left over the region, but really not much to talk about at all. Catch a little bit of a glimmer down to the south. They're going to be getting some more rain down there. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Current temperature is Des Moines, not reporting on this map. We'll tell you what it is in just a second. 68 degrees in the Twin City, 56 degrees in Duluth, 60 degrees in
That's all coming up this week on Good Morning America.
Right now, though, stay tuned for the news. Up next on News 5 at 10, U.S. troops prepare to leave for Kuwait. That is, if the country's leaders decide to accept them. More on the Pentagon's plans for deployment up next.
And I'm Tom Cox in the News 5 Weather Center. Our neighbors to the south will be bearing the brunt of what's left of Hurricane Fausto. Plenty of rain for them, but our forecast is looking absolutely beautiful. Lots of great fall weather coming our way, great temperatures. The news is next.
And
Annie Potts returns to television. The hit movie is now a series. Dangerous Minds, 2 weeks from Monday on ABC.
You're watching WOI TV, and this is News 5 at 10.
Good evening, I'm Sonia Heitzusen. Iowa Democrats are reaping the benefits of a presidential visit tonight. They picked up not only key support from their top man, but a bundle of cash as well. President Clinton touched down at the Des Moines International Airport shortly after 1 this afternoon. After meeting privately with a few key Des Moines Democrats, it was off to Senator Tom Harkin's annual steak and chop fry in Indianola. By 6 o'clock, Clinton was back on board Air Force One, bound for the White House. His time here in Iowa, according to Democrats, well spent. The president's appearance no doubt helped bolster attendance at Harkin's annual fundraiser. In fact, 10,000 people were on hand. That's more than ever before. Those numbers are good news for Harkin, the state's Democratic Party, and the president himself. News 5's Cal Woods has more from Warren County.
The band played, crowd cheered, and the president arrived just about on time. Senator Tom Harkin ran against Bill Clinton for the Democratic nomination 4 years ago, but Sunday afternoon, they were the best of political friends.
4 years ago, Bill Clinton told us he wanted to reward work and strengthen families. He did. He signed the Family and Medical Leave Act and he raised the minimum wage.
I can't tell you all the times that I have turned to Tom Harkin in the last 4 years when things were on the line for America. When we had to pass an economic plan to get the deficit down, to get the interest rates down, to get the economy going again.
And also the re-election campaigns for both candidates, now with solid leads in the polls. Just 2 years ago, during the Gingrich Revolution, many Democratic candidates were reluctant to campaign alongside President Clinton. And now, with a double-digit lead in most polls, he is once again a welcome guest.
And if the connection with the president is viewed as being a positive for their campaign, they'll invite him in. If it's a negative, they want to distance themselves, and they're running on their own record then in order to sell themselves to the public.
Both campaigns say they were satisfied with Sunday's sales pitch. They will do all they can to keep the customers satisfied at least till November 5th. In Warren County, Cal Woods, News 5.
Today's steak fry added about $250,000 to Harkin's campaign chest. A separate fundraiser earlier this afternoon raised another $250,000 for the state Democratic Party. Polls place Harkin anywhere from 6 to 24% ahead of his opponent, Jim Ross Lightfoot. But Lightfoot isn't conceding just yet. The 3rd District representative says his campaign is picking up momentum.
We are not processing as fast as we should.
Lightfoot says the issues will set him and Harkin apart in the coming months, the main ones being taxes, agriculture, and abortion. Presidential visits don't just draw supporters. Protesters are typically on hand, too, to voice their concerns.
We are not paying attention to issues of concern of people who are looking for asylum, and we don't want to hear anything about the poor immigrants.
The American Friends Service Committee picketed the steak and chop fry. The group denounced recent immigration and naturalization raids in Iowa, saying they're racist and unconstitutional. The American Friends Service Committee called on President Clinton to veto the immigration bill. It also wants to open U.S.'s southern borders. Of course, most of the people at the fundraiser couldn't say enough good things about the president. Some even traveled from across the state to catch a glimpse or shake his hand. And as News 5's Jeannie Kung reports, many of those on hand today aren't even old enough to vote.
Hope that Mr. Harkin, Mr. Clinton quit trying to scare seniors.
Looks like we're having some problems with that story. It wasn't a free trip for the students that we were going to show you there. They had to fork out about $10 to attend the Harkin campaign arranged for the charters. In other news, Des Moines police are looking for 2 men who beat, stabbed, and robbed a Des Moines man early this morning. The assailants jumped 20-year-old Thomas Garza on the 1700 block of 22nd Street. Police say the suspects demanded money from Garza, hit him over the head with a bottle, and then stabbed him in the arm. Police are looking for 2 Hispanic males, possibly acquaintances of the victims. There are few leads in the murder of a Des Moines teen early yesterday morning. 18-year-old Raul Camacho died from a gunshot wound to the head. Witnesses say they last saw Camacho leaving the bar with another man. Minutes later, Camacho was shot to death in the parking lot. Police aren't sure what sparked the violence. The suspect fled on foot. One of 4 teens charged with killing a union woman will stand trial this week. 32-year-old Rebecca Hauser was stabbed and shot to death nearly 2 years ago. Her body was discovered in her car along a Marshall County road. Now, 3 months after the conviction of his twin brother, Bert, Derek Smith will face a jury. Jason Speaks, also accused of killing Hauser, will stand trial at a later date. Blake Privet has pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. He is awaiting sentencing. Still ahead on News 5's, troops are packing their bags, getting ready for possible deployment to Iraq. We'll have the story.
And plenty of rain falling down south. The big question is, will we get any of it? I'll have the answer to that coming up next.
Live from Des Moines, this is News 5 at 10 with Sonia Heidt-Susan. Weather with meteorologist Cammie Powers. And Rod Bodholt with sports.
Learn how school experiences helped 18 Iowans excel. Watch The Mountain Climbers.
Well, it seems like yesterday's news, and it is for the United States, but not for Halifax, Canada, where the remains of Hurricane Hortense cause a lot of problems there in terms of heavy rains, lots of flooding going on. Folks are scrambling to keep things tied down and keep things from washing away there. Not a hurricane anymore, but still packing a powerful punch in terms of the rainfall. A little closer to home, however, the weather picture is very different, very pleasant, as a matter of fact. Our high temperatures today, 68 degrees in Des Moines, 68 degrees in Knoxville, 71 degrees in Clarion, a little warmer up to the north, 73 degrees in Webster City, 63 down in Lamoni, 63 in Creston, Atlantic, 66 in Audubon, 72 in Carroll. So very pleasant, very nice day for folks around this part of the world. Currently, not such unpleasant temperatures, definitely warmer than they have been over the past 24, 48 hours or so. 57 degrees in Des Moines, 59 in Newton, 55 in Tama, 62 and at Tumwa, 57 degrees in Atlantic. Low temperatures we're expecting tonight are definitely warmer than they have been. 51 degrees here in Des Moines, 54 in Omaha, a little cooler up to the north, 46 degrees in International Falls, 51 in Rapid City. And our highs for tomorrow are very nice as well, considering the time of year here. 69 degrees here in Des Moines, 66 in the Twin Cities, 69 in Sioux Falls, 69 in Chicago, and 73 degrees down in St. Louis. So the entire region enjoying some nice mild temperatures. But down south of us, they're going to be taking a look at some rainfall. You can see right here before we put the satellite into motion that we experienced virtually cloud-free cover earlier in the day, this whole corridor of cloudlessness, but that changes a little bit as we put this into motion. Lots of activity from Hurricane Fausto, which was down over Baja, California, coming up over the Midwest, bringing lots of rain and lots of cloudiness to everybody but us, it seems. Here's the radar picture. You can see Iowa right up here, down to the south, Missouri, Kansas, and over into Illinois. They're going to be looking at some rain right now, and over the next 24 hours, but that shouldn't be affecting our weather picture too much at all. High pressure dominating the region just to the west of the Great Lakes here, and that's going to be the dominating factor in our weather picture tonight. Most of the rain remaining down to the south. We've got a little front activity coming on here, but it probably won't be arriving till about Thursday. Till then, we're going to be enjoying very nice, very cloud-free, well, I won't say cloud-free, we'll have some clouds, but rain-free weather. 51 degrees, cloudy and mild tonight. Winds light out of the east. Tomorrow, decreasing clouds, there we go, partly sunny and nice, 69 for your high. And here's your 5-day. It's not too bad, sunny in the low 70s.
Not too bad. That's beautiful.
It's very nice. I think we can all live with that.
Yes, we can. Thanks, Tom. Coming up next on News 5, the latest on the stalemate in Iraq. The details when we come back.